Morning, it is May 20th, 8 a.m. This is a work session for the Town of Whit Planning Board. We have one applicant here in front of us, which would be the Amazon ADI accessory structure project. Do we have an applicant online?
Yes, we do.
Wonderful. Will you, based on the conversations that we had last time, provide us with any update?
Sure, we are waiting on one more person to arrive. If we could just give them a minute and see if they're able to join. It's Mark D'Angelo with Amazon.
Sure.
Let me see if.
Yeah, I know Mark was trying to join. I think he was trying to download the Zoom file.
I had trouble getting on with the Zoom too. It kept saying that that you couldn't get onto the site. He may have to try a couple times.
Yeah, I told him to message me if he was having trouble getting on. So hopefully he'll get on here in just a sec. But my name is Patrick Hardy. I'm on the architect side. I wasn't able to join last time, but I understand there were some comments on the building side. So we'll be able to talk about that, share some rendering perspective from the nearby stoplight, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
I see Mark has joined now. You with us, Mark?
Yes, thank you for your patience. I apologize. Technical difficulties. But I'm here now. Hope everybody's doing well. Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so I just asked that since the last meeting, the comments that you received from the board, provide any update, both the materials, form, etc.
Yes, the in regard to the previous documentation with the EV and the building CO, Montante will be bringing over an additional copy of the drawings and an additional thumb drive. I'm pretty sure, matter of fact, I'm positive that we did give those things back to the board, you know, way back in 23, I think it was. But I think that we may have sent them to, I think it was Doug Miller. I don't know if he's still with the board.
So I think, Mark, I'm Eric, I sent you that email. I think what happened from what I could see is that you responded to the conditions of the approval in the permit set of plans, but we didn't receive, or we don't currently have, the 2 copies of the planning board site plans. So they need the plans for the permit set, and then there's a set for the planning board records.
Okay.
And we just don't have the planning board set for our records.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Okay. Yep. Tom Wheeler from Montante is gathering that and be bringing it over to you hopefully this week. I'm going to follow up with him today.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And as far as the CO for the building, there was some back and forth way back in 2020 when we completed the building. There were some issues at the time when I think the town was transitioning between building inspectors, whether it was in-house or going to Doug's firm. I'm not quite sure exactly what was going on at that time, but I do know that there was that Tom Wheeler from Montante and Doug were had been talking, and he came out and he got him the paperwork for the CO. They signed off on it. I'm not sure where Tom left it with him, but I do know that, I mean, I saw a physical copy of the CO at one point, way back when, so that's another item Tom is tracking down for you all so that we can make sure we're all squared on the paperwork.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're just trying to tie up some loose ends.
Yep, no problem. So we're happy to help in getting that paperwork squared away.
Thank you.
Okay, is, as we go into, some of these things with the AVI, will any of that, hopefully it'll be all wrapped up this week, so, hopefully it won't delay us with the process here. Um,
Then we're not on the agenda for this
Right now.
Thursday with this, so this is just a work session.
okay,
Thursday would be the deadline to be on the next work session.
So-
It's the 29th.
29th.
Because we have an extra week.
There you go, so they got an extra week.
So May 29th will be the deadline to get everything in to be on the June 12th meeting. So if you could get all that to us by the 29th and we get that all squared away, then that shouldn't hold anything up.
As well as
Beautiful.
comments and stuff like that.
And yes, as well as whatever comes out of this meeting.
okay. All right, great, thank you. So, Dave, why don't you, walk us through, the updates and the details? I think that there was a couple of items from the last meeting. The one had to do with the finishes and the complement to the existing building. I think another one was the details on the drawing and on the foundation work. So why don't we go ahead and step through that for the board, and then we can address questions as they come up.
Sure, and I think Patrick's on the call right now, sharing screen. Patrick, can you pull up the latest material sheets and renderings and information?
I'm just gonna have to send a request to, there we go. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. So we provided physical copies of this to the city, and we've got elevations of all four sides. The intent is that, you know, these will be metal panels here. They'll be pre-finished metal panels intended to match the exact paint scheme, or as close as possible to the paint scheme on the main building. So we'll have the roof as kind of like an accent color, along with any kind of trim work and downspouts, gutters. And then the walls themselves will be kind of the base color of the building. So we did do a quick little rendering. So when you're at the intersection of Kirkville Road, this is the approximate location and size of the AVI that sits back a little over 1,000 feet away from the intersection. So again, the white pre-finished color here is to match the main base color of the building here, this off-white color, and then the tan color for the roof and everything, it's kind of matching the tan color on the building here. And so that's kind of how we foresee trying to tie in. From this distance, you won't even see any of the lines. You know, it's be really hard to tell that it's even metal from this distance outside of the shape of the building. But that's the intent of this structure, is to go with a prefab metal building, if that's something you guys would be okay with. So I'll go back to the elevation, just kind of show what this looks like. So you're basically seeing this facade here from the street. This is the backside that you're never going to see on the opposite side. And then this side here is facing east. So if I go here, it's this side over here that you're not seeing. And then this side here is on the opposite side. So you might see a little bit of this side and then a little bit of this side here from the street.
What's that one in the lower right? Is that the?
So this This is
front?
the,
Okay.
yeah, this is the van entry side here. So if
Will you-
I,
Will you see
Go ahead.
that from Kirkville Road?
you won't,
Okay.
so that's this facade right here.
Okay, yep, thank you.
It's, yeah, to make sure that vans see the entry clearly where they need to come through. But yeah, so you can see Kirkville Road's up here. It's kind of through the back. I don't think anybody even from this side will ever see it because the building will prevent them from viewing the AVI from the east side.
So my questions, at least based on our last conversation, were the hope that this building would integrate more, like as part of a campus, part of the rest of the building, the rest of the site. What modifications have you made since the last iteration, other than just the panel colors to the building? Because I think, you know, this is a very rectilinear building, and we're now adding, as much as it is, just a prefabricated metal building with a gable roof to the site. What other modifications were made between last time and this time?
The only modification is really just the paint scheme to try and match the building. Again, given the distance away, you know, it in our mind didn't seem to make sense to, you know, try and make this out of tilt panel or anything like that. And again, this view is taken from, you know, 10, 12 feet off the ground. If you were at, you know, more like in a car view or a truck view, you'd be much lower. So a lot of the shrubs that you're seeing down here would be up a little bit higher. So you're really only going to be seeing the top half of this building and a portion of the roof. And that's if you're looking down this way, again, over 1,000 feet away from this intersection.
I seem to recall that this drive is a shared access for a future development that's further to the west. So it's not that it's completely hidden from public view. You know, at some point in time, if there's development, this thing could be more exposed. Am I wrong about that, Nathan?
No, I believe you're correct, because there's the property to the, on this drawing now, the property to the west. And then there's also property to the south that could be developed.
So I think there is merit to treating this more in line with the existing building. And if it's, you know, if it's a pre-engineered metal building, I guess I understand the cost implications of that, but I think you could look at it a little closer just in terms of the roof line and the massing to keep it more in line with the Amazon building. I think that's what we're asking for.
Okay.
The
Okay, so
Amazon, excuse me, Patrick.
Yeah.
I mean, the Amazon building is just a flat white roof. So I'm not sure what our goals are here. You know, we've got the matching color. You know, we've this. I'm just not sure what I mean. If you could give us a little bit more direction on what you think it's supposed to look like. I mean, you know, we've got just I mean, it's a simple building, and I know you want it to match and have a characteristic, and I think the color does that for us. Short of changing the materials of the building itself, which we'd rather not do if we could. You know, tucking it way in the back, and keeping it out of the line of sight of traffic. I'm not sure about the shared access for that drive lane. Honestly, that'd be something that Amazon would not have done as part of their lease agreement. So I'm not sure where that line would go if there is another access down this pathway. But if I reread the lease here, I'm pretty sure we don't share access with anybody on that road, because that would blow up are.
That's on the title. It'd be on the,
Yeah, I mean, I can double check that, but I mean, I built the building and was part of that negotiation, but I've done so many of them since. I'll double check that and get back to the board, but, that would be very, very peculiar for us to enter into agreement to have a double shared access, especially on a path that the vans and our line hauls travel. It's not wide enough for everybody. And then we've got our switchgear that we just installed for the EV over on the left. That doesn't leave any room for expanding the drive to the east or to the west. So it's a very limited drive lane to begin with. I know there's a access back to the southwest for National Grid because there's a pump station of some sort down in that other property that we tied. I'm not sure it's tied into our building, but I know that they have a right of way that goes down there. I'm not sure if that might be what was referred to, but is there a particular, I mean, I know that you said, we should come to you with our presentation of what we think ties into the building and the environment around it. The early response I'm hearing is that you don't agree with what we've done, or you'd like to see some enhancements. Is there anything that you can give us that we could?
Yeah, I think if you look at the existing building, the main building itself, I mean, you don't really see it there in that photo, but it does have, I believe it was a split face block base with, the tan panels above it, tan and gray panels above it. I mean, the one thing that we also did ask for that I don't know that I've seen in here, maybe it was provided, was a couple of wall sections to show us what. Are they in there?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so.
So I think if we're talking about what this building should be in order to kind of feel more like a campus, it can still be a prefabricated metal building. It just wouldn't be a gable building up there. I mean, you could have a mono pitch roof with a,
The parapet.
three-sided parapet, so it looks like it is, a box like the rest of this, still sheds water to the backside. To be captured. You could put a CMU, base around it so that it looks like the rest of the building, looks a little bit more permanent. Still have the metal panel from, 24, 30 inches above grade up. I think there's opportunity to do things to make this feel like it was part of the original building, part of the original plan. This still very, very much feels like it is an afterthought, something that you're just plopping down on the site to cover up some equipment. Right, exactly what you're drawing there, but I would say that mono pitch is hidden behind a three-sided parapet. So from the northeast and west, it looks like a volumetric box similar to the rest of the building, or the rest of the site.
Gotcha. Okay.
What-
And then, go ahead.
And what direction do you want that to face?
Hey, he wants essentially almost a box all the way around. The side that's the lowest, you can have the gutter on the back side, so the south side. But all three corners, basically the parapet is the same height all the way around. It'll be a single pitch roof to just drain everything to the south
I
side.
think that'll help your drainage too around the site.
I think you can still have the blue border around that entry door. That faces out towards the drive, and I think you do that with a base that matches, yeah, exactly, something that matches the building. And I think that's your building.
Okay.
I mean, are there any other thoughts, comments from the rest of the board? And based on our last conversation, that's kind of what I thought the direction was. It's the intent of this building. Yeah.
I think this is exactly what we talked about at the last meeting.
What's the profile on the metal panels?
It's gosh, I don't know the exact name of the profile, but it's kind of like a standing seam. It's not exactly the standing seam type of profile. I don't know that I have a
Is that
good
like a-
picture of it.
Like a Kingspan insulated panel or just a fluted panel?
Yeah, it's just a single layer. It's not insulated.
I dropped a photo in the chat there. This is of a building that we completed in Tennessee. I think I might have mentioned it at the last meeting.
I think that you might want to put some drainage consideration or something for winter because the traffic going through is going to end up dropping off a lot of water at some point. So that was one of my concerns because the water has so much salt in it here. Your building at the ground level will take a beating with the salt and other chemicals.
Yeah, we've got the interior of the floor pitched to drain out the entrance and exits, so that'll help alleviate that. And during the winter, the doors will be closed when it's not operating, when the vehicles are not coming back to the site. And then our maintenance team and the snow removal teams will be handling the upkeep during the winter.
Any other direction that we can provide? You guys have a clear enough picture of what we're looking for?
I
don't
do.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the heart of it, you know, the intent of prefabricated metal. I don't think there's an issue with that. I think it's just how it's formed and how it's clad.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? You're kind of breaking up on my end.
I think in terms of the material being a prefabricated metal building, I don't think there's an issue with that. I think its functionality serves its purpose. It's what the form is and how it's clad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you don't have a problem with the profile of this, correct? I just want to confirm that, or if that's something that we'll need to tweak. But I do understand having, you know, kind of a water table here, you know, whether it's brick or some type of stone or, you know, something down here for the water table.
Whatever you used on the building, I think is what you put there.
Okay, whatever is on the main building is what you'd
Yeah.
like to see out here. Okay,
I think
understood.
I think it was a split face CMU, but I can't see it.
Oh, okay, for the water table, yeah. Let me see. Not sure that I could see it here. I'll have to go back, see if we have some other photos of the site.
I've got a ton of them. I'll pull one up, see what I can come up with.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's what you're referring to there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm referring to.
Okay. Yeah, Mark, if you could share that with me, I'll make sure that gets updated.
Yeah,
Okay,
that color scheme, if you had that water table base with the color directly above it, all of a sudden then it becomes a building that was part of this campus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I understand that. We can definitely do that.
You
And
even
then we-
incorporated your blue border around the door. And
Yeah. And we
Okay.
could maybe do the dark gray for the gutter or downspout. Granted, you won't see that from the front side, but that'll be on the back side, just as an accent similar to the building.
Yep. Fair. Do you guys need anything else from them? I mean, it sounds like they've covered all the other.
Yeah, I was just cleaning up the file of the last project. The Parking's okay, so it's really architectural.
Okay. So you got about a little over a week to update that material set and get that provided to Eric and Alana.
Make sure everything's
Perfect.
signed and sealed, please.
Okay, we can definitely do that.
Board members, do you have a moment for a quick question unrelated to the AVI building regarding this site? Or do you have another meeting or another applicant?
I don't think we don't have another applicant this morning. What can we answer for you?
Well, there was the operations site would like to solve a safety problem on the site. There was another accident, I guess, of one of our associates leaving the parking area on that far east drive lane. Oh, thank you, Patrick. Yeah. So they were exiting here, and as you well know, this is a tricky, dangerous exit. Cars are speeding, not speeding, but they're moving quickly. It's 45 or 50, I think, coming out for that turn. So anyway, to try to resolve this, we came up with an idea of, instead of exiting here, we would get them routed over to exit at the light so that it's completely safe for both the associates and the vehicles already on the road. We would like to, I believe, put an exit pathway to this site into our existing van line direction. So we would put it essentially where that 20-foot distance is between those two islands. We would open it up into that southern van drive lane, that blue and green directional, and then allow the associates to turn right and exit at the light. Is that something that the board needs to review as a site change, or is that something that we can adjust on our own?
So I mean, for this is Jamie Suffolk, I'm the attorney. For the internal site change, yes, you'd have to come to us, we'd look at it. We'd have to make sure the internal traffic works, but you're exiting onto a county road if you're proposing a curb cut?
No, ma'am. It wouldn't be any new curb cuts at all. Kirkville Road's up here. This lighted intersection exists. All we would be doing, this is making a curb cut into our own van drive lane, private drive lane inside the property. It's nothing to do with anything on cutting a new curb into Kirkville.
So right now, there's this curb right here. They want to add this curb cut here out onto the shared drive.
Oh, okay, onto the
Out
shared
here,
drive.
so that the cars can go out here up to the light instead of trying to cut across the traffic up there. Doesn't change parking, right? I mean.
Patrick, that's not the spot. Go to the right, closer to the 20-foot. Right there. Yeah, this way here. See, we don't disturb any of the green space that we created. I think there's just a little there's a concrete. I think it's more sidewalk and curb that we're walking across. Maybe this is gravel.
But it's a minor site change, but I see what's happening, but yeah, draw it out, send it in, and we'll try to get it, with the right information approved as a site modification.
Okay.
Also, if you can coordinate with the county DOT, since Kirkville Road is a county road, and just make sure they're okay with it, if they could write a letter or something. I assume you did a traffic study. back when this was approved, that they signed off on, so.
Yeah, way back when we built the building, so this is just an internal directional change.
It can affect their traffic signal timings or things like that, so.
Okay,
If you could just talk to them and, you know, tell them what you're trying to do and get a letter from them for this board, please.
okay.
See if there's anything else they need from you.
What impact would that have?
If they have stacking at the light, they might want to
Timing on
change
the
their
light.
signal timings.
Yeah.
It's probably, I don't think there's a problem.
No,
Then we-
but I
They
was just curious.
probably prefer to have people coming out at a light, it's a safer exit route.
Right.
I'm guessing that's what
Would-
the county will say, but.
Would the other one be turned into like a right only? Right in, right out?
We would probably directional that, yeah, as a turn right only. And it would be you would be returning, an entry.
And that's
Yeah,
something
right.
you would have to coordinate with the county as well, if any changes to that curb cut.
I
There
mean,
wouldn't be any changes to it would just be an internal directional.
but how do you
So
deal
you're-
with the traffic traveling west, trying to turn left into that lot? I mean, you've got the same issue, you've got cars that are trying to cross 2 lanes of traffic.
Well, we do have a turn lane that allows us to turn left. That's not, it's just it's the vehicles exiting and trying to go west. That has been, a safety concern from our operation
Those are
standpoint.
primarily Amazon vehicles, right?
That's correct.
So what you're describing is more of an internal procedure for circulating the site. You want to redirect your staff to the other side.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That curb cut there that doesn't serve really any other function currently than Amazon traffic, Amazon trucks. It's not for the general public or for staff bringing their personal cars in, is it?
It is. It's for staff, it's for visitors, it's for deliveries from, UPS deliveries or whatever, DoorDash deliveries. I mean, whatever it is, they come in this way.
Oh, all right. Well, then I am kind of going back towards where Nathan started with, I thought it was just Amazon internal circulation. But you're saying that it's more general than that.
No, I'm saying that for our associates leaving the parking lot, we want to direct them west to the light. We would not touch anything about this the two intersections, other than, they would be directed from exiting on the east side to exiting on the west side. So nothing physical changes at the intersection on the west, nothing physical changes on the intersection of the east. The traffic counts don't change because it's an existing facility, so, in and out is gonna remain the same. It's just where they exit. It's safer for them here if they want to turn left to go west.
It would be all drivers though, the associates, DoorDash, visitors. They would be traversing through your parking lot with this new configuration to go west.
I think also wayfinding becomes a part of the discussion now too, and directional signage on the site. You're gonna need signs.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would say you're likely, talk to county, but put a proposal forward, show us exactly what
Okay.
you do.
And any wayfinding signs, we have a part of the code that deals with wayfinding signs, so that would be something as part of like an amended site plan that you would.
Okay, we'll get you something over, but again, it's separate from the AVI project, so.
Okay, and please look at the code, because our wayfinding section has some pretty specific requirements.
Yep.
So just. Make sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the extra time. I appreciate it. We'll get these updates over to you on the AVI as quickly as possible and keep pushing forward. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
No other matters, we'll close the work session.